show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's August 16th, 2021. I'm Gary Furman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, I think what people are most interested in this morning is whatever news we can give them on the scrimmage last night. Details were a little scarce, but things that we were able to put together from all the different outlets that we have is that D'Eriq King had a great night. Don't believe he was going against the number one defense. Let's qualify that. They rarely go ones against ones in these scrimmages, but he was very efficient. He had already really dispelled any concerns that he wasn't, ready to return off of his ACL knee injury. But you always want more confirmation, and I think he provided that in the scrimmage. We've been telling everybody all fall about freshman receiver Jacoby George. He was a huge standout in the scrimmage, as was Xavier Restrepo. The two young receivers continue to get a lot of looks in practice and now in a scrimmage. Coaches obviously like what they see and are giving them a lot of work because they most likely are counting on those two guys to be contributors this fall. And the more work they can give them in scrimmages, the better. So encouraged by King's efficiency, encouraged to hear that Restrepo and Jacoby George had a great scrimmage. Encouraged to see Charleston Rambo catching one over the top. A little discouraged that it was against Tyreek Stevenson. But, we didn't hear a lot at all, Matt, about defense out of this scrimmage. And if you want to be concerned about something, I would say maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue when a program doesn't really let the media have access to these kinds of things. I mean, there's going to be so much speculation. And then even when coaches tell you, oh, yeah, defense was great, like, well, was it great or wasn't it great? Defensive players, sometimes they're honest, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they say we did great, sometimes they say we did terrible, but it's a perception thing. So it certainly would have been nice if they trusted the media enough to let us out there and sort of share some opinions. And they've done it in the past where it's like, listen, you can't report on formations, you can't report on personnel groupings, but you can say what happened, That would have been nice because it avoids this look of, based on the initial stats, it looks like the defense was awful, So, I don't know.
Well, but we don't really know. We don't
know. That's what I'm trying to say. We have
no Tyler Van Dyke stats, no Jake Garcia stats.
Dominated, and there was just a few big catches here and there. But I mean, this is the problem.
Well, all we can do is the best we can do in this situation, and we want to send everybody some good news. So I think the good news is that the receivers and D'Eriq King all look good. George and Restrepo would have been catching passes from Van Dyke and Garcia, most likely. So the fact that they had big days tell you that those quarterbacks also probably were somewhat efficient in their reps out there. And in terms of the defense, we're just not going to be able to really communicate much right now. We know that that's the challenged side of the ball anyway, without a report from the scrimmage.
And I'll add on Tuesday. This morning we're going to get a little bit more from Rhett Lashley, and then tomorrow on Tuesday we're going to have some access of some kind. I assume to Manny, we could ask more detailed questions. This was basically an in-house interview that they sent us to give us the information that they think we want. But yeah, I mean, to me the obvious best news of the whole day is D'Eriq King played. It sounds like nothing bad happened, and it sounds like he did really well and was moving around great. So, to me, if you said one thing that you wanted to hear out of the scrimmage, that's it. So to me, the scrimmage is a success, no matter what else happened, because without D'Eriq King back to what he needs to be, the season's not going to go the way they want. So that's just huge.
All right, so we'll continue to probe for details on the scrimmage the next few days and tell you guys more about that. I would stay tuned to the message board, the War Room. Anything that we are able to come up with, we'll post there and do our best. And you'll see some other stuff and stories and things like that. But we'll do our best to keep getting more details on the Sunday night scrimmage for you guys. All right, other things on the website. today, and there's a lot of stuff. We put stuff up all weekend and more things this morning. You guys have a lot to read and absorb this morning. I did a column because I see it evolving as a real issue, and that's on COVID potentially impacting another college football season. And we're seeing different levels of vaccination around the country. Some schools are requiring it of all their students. Some aren't. Like Miami, it's a choice. 85% of the Hurricane team is said to be vaccinated. Well, what about the other 15%? Well, we have found out that those guys are not being allowed to attend team meetings. They're having to watch them on the Jumbotron screen in the indoor practice facility because, they can't be happy about, if it's 10, 15 guys, whatever it is, they can't be happy that these guys aren't vaccinated because it's just putting a level of stress on the entire organization that you don't need when you're getting ready for a season, much less playing the defending national champions on opening day. The last thing you want is somebody getting COVID. Then you got to go through contact tracing, which could involve many players on a team. And that's what Miami is really trying to avoid. They don't want to go into a contact tracing situation. Some teams possibly could be looking at forfeiture of games. The ACC has not said how they will handle a situation like that yet. They've kind of been monitoring the situation. But the point is that there's a lot going on with COVID. Don't make it political. Doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. This never should have become political in the first place. But there's a lot going on with COVID that could impact the upcoming football season. So we give you an article on that and talk about the different issues involved in that. Also, over the weekend, I had a detailed talk with Tony Tsoukalis from BamaInsider.com. We put that on the website this morning. I think everyone's going to find that really insightful. This guy is right on the pulse of what's going on in training camp for the Crimson Tide. And we were able to talk about a lot of things and get some really good insight on where Alabama is a week into training camp. So you guys will enjoy that. Our 15 Impactful Players series continues today with number 11, Navon Donaldson. And Matt, I think Navon coming back and having, worked on his weight issues the whole offseason and everything, really has a chance to make a significant imprint on this offense and this team this season.
Yeah, I think if Navon never got hurt, he'd be a top 5 on this list. It's a shame he has such a setback. But, he looks strong again. He looks like he's getting in shape the way he needs to. I think he's going to be, I said this previously on a Good Morning CaneSport segment. I think he's in store for a really, really good season. I think he's going to be outstanding.
All right, and a couple other guys that we put out since we last communicated with you guys on Good Morning CaneSport. We had number 12, Cam Harris, and number 13, Jalen Knighton, both out over the weekend. You see they're close to each other, 12 and 13. We really didn't know how to separate them. Matt, the truth of the matter is that both could have really good seasons this year.
Yeah, they're going to probably look. Rhett Lassie says he'll have a featured back. That's great, but there's going to be a second guy who plays quite a bit. We've said both of us agree. I think Cam will be the starter, and Jalen will be the change of pace guy, third down back type thing. That's how I sort of still see it. But they have such different skill sets. We rated Cam a spot ahead, but they're both so good. They're both starting caliber tailbacks, for sure, both of them. So that's why we sort of wanted to run them back to back like that and not have a big separation, because just because they're different types of backs and one's going to start and one's not doesn't mean that one should be number 11, one should be number 20. They're both really, really good, So it's like apples and oranges in a sense. That one's more of the power back who's got good speed. The other one's sort of more like, the scat back type who can catch pass out of the backfield and just really good in open space. But they both deserve to be very high up, obviously.
All right, and also over the weekend, we put out a new Real Talk. T. Frank did a pretty good analysis on Markeith Williams, broke down his game, that he's the new commitment safety from the Orlando area. So make sure you check that out and familiarize yourself with Markeith Williams and the pluses and minuses of his game and I thought T. Frank did a really good job on that. All right, today, not much going on in camp. Players were supposed to be having the day off, so we're expecting that to be the case. Coaches will be in the bunker reviewing the film of the scrimmage last night and breaking that down. We might see some depth chart movement possibly when we go out to practice on Tuesday, Matt. And then, we should be able to bring you a bunch more content on Tuesday from camp when the team returns to practice. And we'll have obviously some other stuff here or there as the week continues. And we continue to monitor what happened in the scrimmage. So that's going to do it for today. I'm Gary Furman. He's Matt Shodell. We thank you once again for joining us on Good Morning CaneSport, and have a great day, everybody.